So I want to talk about how having a panic disorder, anxiety, how it changed a person. You know, I don't know if people would be actually be born with a panic disorder. Most likely not, but you never know. But like myself, I'm 38 years old. I didn't have panic disorder, anxiety till I was 36 years old. So I had panic. I've been having a panic disorder for a little bit over 2 years. Actually, I think I turned 36 years old, and I think see about maybe 2 months after my birthday, that's when I started picking up my panic disorder. Um, but like I say, a panic disorder, it actually does change who you are. Let's say if you never had panic disorder before and you start having a panic attacks, sometimes when you have one panic attack, depending on the person, you can have it, and then after your first one, you might not get them anymore. Your second one, your third one, but once I had my first one, over 2 years ago, my first one happened when I was in my car. When I was getting wet, I just put my car in park. I shut off the engine. I was about to go inside the store with my daughter, and that's when I got hit with a panic attack. I remember what happened. I didn't know what was going on. All I can think is, why do I feel like I was dying? Why do I feel like I was in danger? Why do I feel like I'm not really where I am? I felt, that detached feeling. I didn't, wherever I was looking at, didn't feel real, didn't look real. At the same time, I couldn't sit still. I was in my car. I was like, why am I feeling the way I was feeling? Why do I think I'm dying? Things like that. And then I couldn't even go inside the store that day. I had my daughter go in and to buy whatever she needed. My daughter's a teenager, so she was 14 years old at the time. Matter of fact, she just turned 14. Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks after. Actually, a week or two before my before I experienced my panic attack. It was her last few weeks of middle school, and then she was going to high school. And I talked about this before. I start having how I start noticing that I have a learning disability when I was her age, maybe if not maybe a little bit younger. So by her going to high school, I don't know if that's something that kind of triggered me into worrying about her. Like, she doesn't have a learning disability. Right now, she's 16 years old. She just turned 16 back in May. So, like I said, I don't know if I start worrying about her going off to high school or things like that. Because when I went to high school, when I was a freshman, my learning disability got even worse because, when you go to high school, you have more homework, the work's harder. And back when I was in high school in the 90s, what we learn now, what they learn now is what we learned when we were in high school. But what they learn in middle school is what we learned in high school. So what they're doing now is a lot harder than it is back when we were in school. At least when I was back in school in the 90s. So I don't know if that's the reason that triggered me to having a panic disorder. But like I said, once you start having a panic disorder, it does change who you are. Not for the good. You start picking up phobias. You can start picking up other social anxiety. You can start picking up depression. You can pick up habits, stuff like that. As far as my phobia, I picked up when I started having my panic disorder. I started having a hard time leaving the house. I couldn't even go to the backyard. There was time I couldn't even make it past my hallway, my bedroom window. During the morning, the sun would shine right through, and I start picking up like sensory overload. The sun was too bright for me. I couldn't handle the sun. I couldn't handle the heat. I couldn't handle the cold. I couldn't handle anything that's too much noise. If it's too noisy, I couldn't handle it. If it's too quiet, I couldn't handle it. as far as the phobias, I couldn't if I had headaches and they're not from anxiety, I wouldn't take any headache medication like Tylenol, things like that, Advil. I wouldn't take it. I would start having to feel taking pills. I started having feel taking pills for allergies. I used to get really bad allergies that like my nose is running, my throat was dry, my eyes was turning bloody red. Tear come down my eyes because my eyes were so irritated. I would be scratching my nose, the itchiness and all that stuff. But at the same time, once I started having anxiety, I didn't really, my allergies slowly went away. I wasn't getting daily allergies every, when I get allergies, it's usually during the seasonal allergy, meaning I'll start getting them around March, the beginning of spring into towards like maybe the first half of summer, and then it will slowly just go away. But once I started having anxiety, that's when my allergies slowly disappeared. Lately, I haven't really had allergies. 2 years of not having really bad allergies. I still get it from maybe like a day or two, but before I would get them every day. And if I didn't take medication, and when I used to go work, I would be suffering at work. My eyes would be watering, my nose. I would have to always blow my nose, things like that. But like I say, panic disorder with as far as my other phobias, which including I couldn't be home alone. As a 38 years old, that's kind of embarrassing to admit. But once I start picking up my panic disorder, like many of us, we think we're gonna have a heart attack. We think we're gonna faint, or we're gonna just drop out and die. And when I was home alone, like when my parents had to go somewhere, I would think, oh my God, what if the next time my chest starts hurting, it's not a panic attack? What if it's a heart attack? What if I start having symptom of having stroke? I lost my brother because he had a stroke 3 years ago. Back in 2015, he had a couple of strokes and he passed away. And there's times that I had the symptoms, stroke-like symptom, and then I start thinking, oh my God, what if I had a stroke and no one's home? Things like that. And you start picking up, oh my God, when you go from, oh, this is just a symptom, to, oh my God, that's the worst thing. Because every time when I woke up, I had this habit of, just looking around. Am I awake? Am I dreaming? Is this my room? Do I feel normal? What is it like to be normal? And to be honest, there's moments where I feel no anxiety, but at the same time, I was like, oh my God, am I dead? Because I don't feel dizzy. I don't have any headache. I don't feel sick to my stomach. I don't have any head pressure, etc. And then I was like, oh my God, I feel normal, but how come I'm scared feeling normal? I should be happy that I'm not feeling any symptoms, any sensation. And then a few minutes later, bam, I get hit by the panic attack. And then the symptoms come, and then I'll start saying, oh my God, why did I start saying, oh my God, how come I didn't feel any symptoms? I don't feel any sensation. Then which lead me into, having this start, okay, I feel normal, but I'm scared feeling normal. And then when I feel the symptom, I'm like, I wish I feel normal. It's like my mind is thinking about the opposite. Oh, I want to feel normal when I'm panicking. And when I'm feeling normal, I'm like, oh my God, how come I'm not panicky? It's like I can't decide, do I want to feel normal, or what it's like to be normal, things like that. I was scared to be feeling normal. I was scared to having the panic attack. And the other phobia I pick up, which is another embarrassing thing, I was scared to take a shower. Like I mentioned, my third overall panic attack happened when I was taking a shower when I was getting ready to go to work. I used to work at night graveyard shift. I used to take a shower maybe an hour or two before to go work, so I can like fully wake up. And when I took it, I just got this. I start having the off balance feeling, the dizziness, lightheaded. I thought I was gonna faint, and in my mind, I was like, "Oh my god, what if I faint and no one hear me?" You know, things like that start playing in my head. That's one thing when you have a panic attack and anxiety, you start having hundreds of thousands of thoughts that pop in your mind within a couple of seconds. You can be thinking, "Oh my god, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. What if no one hear me? What if I'm yelling, no one's home? What if they can't save me? What if they call 911 and there's no phone service? What if there's no power? What if everyone's cell phone had no service? What if the power line is gone? What if this? What if that? That's all those stuff play in my head within a few seconds. When I didn't have a panic disorder, the only thing that I was ever worrying about was like, the traffic going to work. Traffic going to work. Oh, did I put gas in my car? How's my tire pressure? Those little things. Things that a normal person would just think about. No one really wants to think, oh my god, what if there's no power and I need to call 911? What if this? What if that? Those things you don't want to think about. But like I say, when you have a panic disorder, it changes you. Before I didn't have a panic disorder, I wasn't scared being home alone. I wasn't scared taking a shower when I needed to take a shower. I wasn't scared to leave my house. I wasn't scared to talk to random people, go to the store, go to work. There was time I used to work, not my previous job that I lost over 2 years ago, but before, I used to work, 12 hours, 5 days a week, and Saturday I worked 4 to 6 hours, things like that. And my previous job, there's times I worked 12 hours, 5 days a week. Sometimes I even work 16 hours one day, and there's times I work 12 hours, 5 days a week, and I'll come in for 8 hours for overtime, and things like that. And, once you start picking up a panic disorder, going to work, leaving the house, just even getting off your bed seems like the hardest thing. And then you start picking up social anxiety. I remember in 2016, once I started becoming housebound, I remember I start picking up the depression. Depression is where you feel like you can't do anything. You feel like you just want to lay down. Feel like getting off the bed. Feel like I was wasting too much energy just getting off my bed. I feel like no matter what I did, didn't feel didn't feel like it was good enough for anything, for anyone. Things like that. And I couldn't even go to the kitchen and get a cup of water. Someone had to bring it to me because I feel, you feel so tired when you have a panic disorder. You can even sleep 8 hours. You can still feel like that's not enough. You either use oversleep or you're not getting enough sleep. For myself, there was times I got too much sleep and it felt like I was still too tired. There was times that I didn't get enough sleep and I felt fine. And there's times that I didn't get enough sleep, I was tired, and there was times that I got enough sleep and I was fine. So it's like your body never feels the same. Every day feels different. Every day you wake up, you start questioning yourself. How am I gonna feel? You don't live in the moment. You always think, oh, for example, there could be days that I will say, oh, I feel okay today. For the first time in 2 weeks, how am I going to feel tomorrow? And then tomorrow you start having more panic attack, and then you're going to start thinking, oh great, why did I think about it? And then there's the days that I will say, okay, is this going to be my worst panic attack today? Am I going to have the worst one tomorrow? What if I feel normal for 1 week, and then the next week am I going to have triple the amount of panic attacks because I had no panic attacks for 1 week, things like that. And sometimes I start thinking about my symptoms so much that I tricking myself into thinking I'm dizzy. Sometimes I'll be like sitting down. Right now I'm sitting on the floor. Sometimes I'm sitting and I'm kind of leaning this way, and then I start thinking, oh my God, why do I feel like I'm falling to my left? It's because I'm actually leaning towards the left. Things like that. The other thing that changes, you can either lose weight or gain weight. As for myself, I start losing weight because I start picking up a phobia of eating. You know, I start thinking, oh my God, if I eat this, what if I get sick from eating this? What if I ate that and I have a allergic reaction to it? Things like that. And then I also pick up habits of like, picking like my skin. Like if I'm itchy, when you're itchy, you want to scratch. When I didn't have a panic disorder, when I was itchy, I wouldn't scratch it because I knew it would make me worse. So now when I have like my skin gets itchy, I'll scratch it, and then sometimes I'll just like start bleeding, or like leave fingernail marks on wherever I'm scratching, and things like that. And the other changes is like you start picking up habits. You start picking up other things that you never did before. You start fearing things that you never feared before. Sometimes if someone walked by and tapped you in the back and I'm sitting on the computer, I would jump. Things like that. When I didn't have a panic disorder, someone walks up behind me, normally I have this sense where I can kind of feel like, oh, someone is like creeping up on me and just tap me, and then I'll turn back and I'll just say, are you trying to scare me? Or sometimes they'll tap me and I don't know, and I'll just turn back and I'll just say, oh, hi. It's like things like that. But when I start having a panic disorder and then someone drops something, and my heart starts pounding and things like that. But as far as how I'm doing now, ever since I started doing my daily exposure therapy, going for walks, bike rides, driving, going to stores, things like that, it also has took away my social anxiety. It took away the depression. It took away a lot of my symptoms, my sensation, my phobias. Now if I want to leave the house, I'll leave the house whenever. I don't leave my house when I'm like, oh, I feel little to no anxiety. I better leave my house right now. When I first started leaving my house, my daily exposure therapy, I will only leave my house around the same time frame, which was around 8 o'clock or around 2 p.m. Those were the two time frames that I would leave my house for whatever reason. And I start working my way up to leaving my house different times. And then that's when I realized that, I start changing. I start talking to my neighbors more often. I've been working with my neighbor for almost a year now, I would say. Yeah, almost a year now. So whenever he has time, he'll come over and we'll just go for a quick walk, things like that. Not too long, maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when we had the AT&T guy came to install the internet, I was talking to them. I'm more social like I used to be. I'm getting to know more neighbors. I'm talking to random people like I used to. When I go to the store, I don't have a hard time standing in line. I've been going to the post office, having to talk to people, answer the door when there's someone knocks the door. I got to know, I'm talking to the mailman, things like I used to do without having any problems. So, I'm home alone right now. I can be home alone by myself for hours, days if I need to be. I don't have a hard time going to the bathroom. I can get off my bed if I'm dizzy. I've been using my computer, learning stuff off YouTube. When I had my first panic attack, which was my fourth overall panic attack, I also checking my work email when I had a panic attack. I was dizzy, and that triggered me into having a hard time sitting down using the computer because it reminds me every time I sat down on using the computer, I start thinking, what if I have that I have my vertigo attack at work. That was the first time I experienced a vertigo attack. Vertigo is where everything was spinning. I start thinking, oh my God, sitting down using the computer was a trigger. Taking a shower was a trigger. Going to the mall was a trigger. Getting off, leaving the house was a trigger. Eating certain food was a trigger to me. Drinking caffeine. I haven't drank caffeine for over 2 years. Every little thing that triggered me, how every little thing that I did that made me feel panicky, I avoid doing. Picking up the phone was a hard thing for me to do. I remember when my phone rang and it was HR department from work asking me am I ready to come back from work. I remember I couldn't even pick up the phone. The phone rang, my hands were shaking. I couldn't even hold the phone still, things like that. But right now I'm ready to go back to work. No matter how I feel. I'm looking for work. Applying for jobs, things like that. Applying for a job is one thing. Getting a call back is another thing. Going to the interview is one thing. Actually going to work is different things. But right now, I'm just taking it slow. I'm just happy that I'm driving. I'm happy that I'm able to do a lot of things that I used to be able to do, and that's how having a panic attack really changes your mindset. At the same time, panic attack sucks, but it also teaches me a life lesson, and that life lesson is, at any moment something can happen to you, so you have to live your life to the fullest, and at the same time, you don't want to make mistakes that's gonna cause you to regret your life. You don't want to look at somebody and say, "Oh, this person, what's wrong with this person? How come this person is acting strange? How come this person can't look at me in the eyes? How come this person can't leave the house?" When I didn't have a panic disorder, I never knew anything about anxiety. I never knew people have phobias of leaving the house. I never knew um, people have so many types of phobias. So it teaches me a life lesson that, don't judge somebody based off their looks. Don't judge someone based off of their height, their look, their skin color. Don't judge people. Don't hate someone because you don't really know what's that person going through inside. Don't call someone that has a panic disorder weak. Don't call someone that has depression lazy, because if you don't have it, you wouldn't know what it's like. Someone can walk by me and look at me and they can say, "Oh, this guy, he's normal. He probably doesn't have depression. He probably doesn't have any phobias. Things like that." You don't know what someone's going to do just based off how they look. Anyways, as far as how I'm doing right now, I'm a lot happier right now. I'm not completely like myself, but I'll take that 90% over that 30% anytime. But anyways, here's some clips of me from today. Yesterday, I went for a walk with my neighbor, so I didn't really film anything. But here's some clips from me from today.